So a little bit of pushing and shoving from the start. Coleman works his way through to the lead there. So James Coleman in the Richmond uniform over the barrier first. Buckingham with him there. Also Chilcott, the Tasmanian. So relatively steady pace. Saw Coleman in action in the National Championship. We also saw Buckingham perform so well up there. So approaching barrier number 2. So Coleman, Chilcott, Buckingham, O'Brien. Looks like Dylan Holland in next position there. Nick Earl tucked in. Just behind him, it is Dale Carroll from Collingwood. So coming around the all-important first water jump. James Coleman has clear space here, so he'll attack the barrier. So good technique from all of them except Nick Earl. So Coleman leads it. Earl tucks himself back onto the back of the lead pack. Gap then to Sykes, also Matthews, Ueda, and also the Tasmanian there in Chambers. So Buckingham just sitting behind Coleman at the moment. Content for James just to lead it through. 6 laps to go. So Dale Carroll making the next move there from Collingwood. He's moved into second position, just ahead of Buckingham. Gap then to O'Brien, Chilcott. That looks like Holland to the outside of him. Nick Earl also up there at the moment through the early stages. I think that might be Dunsmore just sitting onto the pack too. So Coleman, Carroll, O'Brien. Buckingham just drifting back a little. He's the form runner in this event, but allowing things just to roll through the early laps. Dunsmore's in the middle of the pack. Earl starting to work forward. Chilcott. Then Holland. Gap to Sykes, Ueda, Matthews, and then Tasmanian runner there in Chambers. So we're into the second kilometre here. Coleman still leads. Not much change in that lead pack. Dylan Holland working hard to stay in touch. That lead group of 8. So Coleman looking smooth through the water. Buckingham also looking good, and just taking an inside running there as they approach the next barrier. O'Brien just hanging into that lead group of 4. Then it's Nick Earl. Perhaps not the best exponent over the barriers, but Nick has got plenty of tick up and is strategically a good runner too. And moving up towards the front of the pack now, Nick Earl from Melbourne University. So Buckingham's taken the lead for the first time. Coleman just looking around and I think maybe telling people to get off his heels. So important to get clean space in these barrier approaches. We don't want to see any spills. We saw a ripper last week with Bailey Sharp from Western A's banging his head in one, but got up to get a bronze medal. Awesome effort there from Sharp. So Buckingham leads Earl, Coleman, O'Brien, Carroll, Dunsmore, Chilcott. Gap then to Holland. Yes, Ross.
Copy that.
So Buckingham, Earl, Coleman, O'Brien, gap then to Carroll, another gap then to Chilcott, then Dunsmore and Holland. 3 laps to go. Now just a reminder to everyone in the stadium that if you are trying to get results, they are being posted on the back of the main grandstand here. You just come up the steps and you'll see all the results lists being posted there. And also Track Meet Mobile has all of the start lists and the results, and they're being updated very frequently, so you won't miss a beat if you've got Track Meet Mobile. So Buckingham leading it. Coleman now starting to make a bit of a move again. Chilcott's dropped off there, so it's a race in 5 at the moment, unless Chilcott can work his way back on, and it looks like he's trying to do just that as they approach the next barrier. So Coleman again making a bit of a move here. Earl in 3rd position. We saw him lead over the water jump in the last lap, which is not his greatest discipline, so we'll see him just easing back a bit as they go through the water. Hasn't got the long legs of a Buckingham or the smooth style of a Coleman going over the water. And O'Brien hanging in beautifully at the moment. Carroll making another move. So Buckingham goes to the lead, 2 laps out. Will he defend his championship? Coleman, O'Brien in 3rd, then Carroll. Earl's got to get a wriggle on here if he wants to get back into those medal contention. Gap then to Chilcott, Dunsmore, Holland. Sykes starting to come through a little bit, the St Bernard's runner. As we see the gaps really starting to form here. So Ben Buckingham leads from James Coleman. Toby O'Brien in next position for Essendon. Then a gap back to the Collingwood Harriers runner there in Carroll. Then another gap to Nick Earl. So O'Brien starting to mount a bit of a challenge here, and the field's starting to come back together, that top 3. I think we're looking at our medalists right there. 3 of them together as they're approaching that water jump. Buckingham so good over the water though. Just floats across, lands 1 foot in, straight out again. Doesn't lose any momentum whatsoever going through the water. So we're coming down and we'll get the bell. So Buckingham over first. O'Brien looks like he wants to challenge Coleman. Coleman fighting through on the rails there and picking back up onto Buckingham. So 1 to go, 7:55. Carroll in next position, but out of the medal contention. So too Earl. Chilcott in the next position there, the Tasmanian. So Buckingham starting to wind it up. Coleman looking quite smooth as he starts to really roll through down into the back straight. So Buckingham over first, Coleman clean. O'Brien next. Gap of about 40 metres now back to Carroll. Another 10 metres back to Earl. So Coleman starting to really wind it up and getting away from O'Brien here. But Buckingham leads, 200 out. So final water jump now for Ben Buckingham. We know he's good at it. Look at that, just beautifully through. Coleman a little bit of a stutter step in, but he's still sitting in 2nd position there. But Ben Buckingham, 2 in a row for the St Stephen's runner. 8:54 last year, won't quite get that time, but it is a championship. He moves to lane 3. Ben Buckingham, hats off to you. That's a great championship win there, taking out your 2nd Victorian Steeplechase championship. James Coleman really picked up since the Nationals, and that's a good one. We'll give you that one, James. O'Brien will get the bronze. Carroll's going to come through for the 4th position there, and then a great battle there between Earl and also Chilcott, 5 and 6. Dunsmore's raising a little bit of an effort here towards the end of the race, but looks like Sykes will take the next position for Keolis and Berners. Then Dunsmore. Then looking down the track, we've got Ueda, Holland, Paddy Matthews. Saw him running so bravely yesterday in the 1500s.